Hey you guys, it's Desiree Summer. This is week 3 of our June Creating Beauty. And this week we are talking about one of my favorites. We're talking about how to live a beautiful story and how to create beautiful stories for ourselves. And that's so important. There's a great quote at the beginning of the worksheet I gave you guys, or I'm going to give you guys, that says, "The stories we tell literally make the world. If you want to change the world, you need to change your story. And if you want to change your world, the key is in changing your story." And today is all about that. And I have this process and I'm going to go through it with you. You'll probably want to grab a journal or the worksheet, and you're going to want to have about maybe 10 minutes of quiet just to sort of think this through. So if it's not now, save this video and come back to it later. But I'll walk you through it for now, and you can figure out how to do the rest on your own if now isn't a great time. So the problem with some of our negative stories and our deep beliefs is that we really believe that there is something that is wrong with ourselves and that we can't change it, right? We really think we are ugly or unlovable, or we are cursed. We're definitely bad with money. And we think that the world just keeps bringing us circumstances that shows to us over and over again that that is the truth. And no matter how hard we try to change it, that we can't do it. But what actually ends up happening is something a little different. And that's what this process is all about. So I want you to pick one of those core beliefs, one of those negative stories you have. Like, I'm always getting rejected. I will always be single because I'm always getting rejected, right? I'm unattractive to the opposite sex. Now, I want you to think about the last time you specifically had that exact feeling, that same story. And it should be a time that you can remember in a little bit of detail. So for the first part of this process, what we're going to do is give the facts and just the facts. So just the circumstances, just the objective stuff. So if I've been online dating for the last 6 months, and in the last 6 weeks maybe, I met someone I really liked. We connected, we went on a couple dates. It was so great. I was really starting to like him. And then he ghosted on me. And now it's been 4 weeks, he won't respond, and I feel like I've been completely rejected. It's happened all over again. No one will ever love me. He must have found me unattractive and I just didn't realize it. That's the story, right? So the first part is just the facts. So I would just put, Harry hasn't responded to me for over 4 weeks. I haven't heard from him, right? Those are the facts. Now, the next part, you're going to tell the whole story. Like, what do you make that mean? So for me in this example, I might say, well, clearly he rejected me. He ghosted me. He didn't like me. He never did like me. I'm unlovable. I'll be single forever. I'm not attractive. This part is where you're going to put your story and all of that feelings and emotions, right? And then on the third part, I want you to get quiet and get into your body. And I just want you to notice that if you tell yourself that story again and you pay attention to your body, where does that story show up? How does that make you feel in your body? So if I close my eyes and I say to myself, you're unattractive, you're going to be single forever, he rejected you, you're always rejected, I might say, oh, I feel my chest caving in. I feel dejected. I feel really hopeless, right? So once you get that, then you're just going to move to the next part. Right? So the next part is think about how that feeling of being dejected and having that story together, think about all the different ways that fuels your actions, what you do once you feel that way. So for me, if I'm feeling dejected and I'm feeling rejected, maybe I decide to give up on online dating. Maybe I decide it's hopeless. It'll never work. Maybe I decide to crash my diet because if it's never going to work, I might as well have big bowls of ice cream every night. Maybe I decide that I'm a little depressed and I don't dress as nicely. I don't put on the makeup or the fun clothes. I just go out and I let it all hang out, so to speak. Maybe I also, though, maybe I get anxious. Maybe I contact my ex, even though I know he's not good for me. And I see if there's any possibility that he's at all interested in me, or if he could give me any sort of validation. maybe I go back online and I feel really desperate and I sort of anxiously reach out to a bunch of guys that I wasn't interested in before and try to make it work with them and try to pin them down on a time. So maybe I do both of those things. Maybe I pin back and forth. For you, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to list out all the things that you would do if you felt that way and you had that story in that moment. And really list them all out. Who would you talk to? Who wouldn't you talk to? Who would you avoid? What sort of little slight addictions or bad habits would you indulge in? Then what I want you to do is just notice with all those actions, right? So for me, withdrawing, doing way less, but also then being anxious and being desperate, am I proving my story true? What is the net result of those? So if I'm pulling away and giving up, I'm definitely setting myself up to be alone, yeah? And if I'm being really desperate, I know people don't like that. I'm setting myself up to be rejected. If my boyfriend, my ex, has already rejected me and I go back to them, I'm just looking for rejection. I'm proving that story true over and over again. So what's happening here after you do all that, I'm hoping you'll see the same, because about 99.9% of the time, we prove our own stories true. And it's not that there is something inherently wrong with us. My dog's gonna bark. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully she's not gonna bark again, but there's always the chance. So what I was saying, that instead of having something that is just wrong with us and that we can't change, this worksheet should reveal to you that what we have is a story that fuels a bunch of feelings that makes us prove it true, right? Those feelings fuel a bunch of actions that actually end up proving what we believed in the first place true. Over and over again, we do that for ourselves. So if we are taking actions and fueling feelings that are proving that story true, we can change it. We can change the actions and we can no longer prove that story. We can always choose a different story. And that is what tomorrow is going to be all about. It's a really fun and unusual way to look at the same story. So keep this sheet once you fill it out, because you're going to need it again, in a way that will break that whole trance for you. And you'll start to see how to change that in a really interesting, unique way that I'm pretty sure you haven't tried yet. So do the worksheet, have fun, and I hope that helps, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, you guys.